Hello. It is us. We are here. Welcome to Chapter 4 of Volume 3 of All We've Lost. We have officially smashed through the halfway point. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little anxious about this. Anyway. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon. We're going to start with some introductions from my players. Jay.
Hi. No good morning. No good afternoon for me. I'm Jay, Jazz, at TheYellowCubes. You can find me on all social medias at TheYellowCubes. I'm playing here, and then also next Thursday, also here, different time. And that's all I got. I'm playing Eilif, Sanse. Found my husband. Rough, buddy. It's rough.
Gonna get rougher today. Teehee.
That's all I got.
Joel.
Well, how else can I say this other than I'm Joel? Oh, I'm playing Neck. On Twitch in chat, I'm TactlessRaccoon. And just so excited to be here with my friends.
Every day I wake up. Bones.
Hi everybody, I'm LittleBones309. I'm an indie gamer here on Twitch, and I play TTRPGs all around the web with my pals. And over here, I play Oleyna K, your favorite bastard, your favorite slut, your rotten soldier. She's made some choices. Who knows if they're regrettable or not.
I mean, we're maybe gonna find out soon.
How soon, Marion?
As soon as the story permits. Hi guys, I'm Myriad. This is my channel. We do a lot over here. We do art, we do variety gaming, and we do TTRPG content. This is obviously my D&D5e Homebrew campaign, All We've Lost. But next week, next Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, we will be starting up a new little mini-series called Pink Moon. So make sure to tune in for that. I got Jay, Bones, Creep, and Bleak in on that. So it's going to be a really good time. I'm excited for it. Yeah, does anyone want to give me a recap of last week?
I'll give you a recap.
Go for it.
So, last time we saw our rotten soldiers, we were fighting, man. We were schwangin'. We had Mermur'ss with us still. He's hot and beautiful and cool. And we were supposed to retrieve this necromancer, except for he had been taken over by some great evil, it seems. We fought, we lived, we barely survived. That was really stressful. Didn't like that. I think a missed opportunity happened, and Mermur'ss tried to kill all of us in order to repay his life debt, his soul debt. But Oleyna, quick thinking, made some major sacrifice of her own accord to relieve him of said debt, in which case he disappeared thereafter and scampered away. He did kiss Oleyna on the cheek. That's an important detail I wanted to make everybody known of. We returned back to the capital, back to Lufir, and told him of our discovery. We returned the body of the necromancer. And he's mad at us, I think, because Mermur'ss got away.
He's not mad, he's disappointed.
Oh, it's even worse. And that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yes. So Lufir is a little pissed, not specifically at the party, more at one of his corpse hunters just deciding to fuck off. Especially because corpse hunters hold a lot of secrets of ruin. So we may or may not see Mermur'ss again in the future. Maybe Oleyna will get to kiss some more. But last we left off with Oleyna and Neck being led back to the barracks while Eilif was being led to see her husband, who we had found out previously was being held here in ruin after basically abandoning his position in Beathanwa during the war. He's a deserter. And he was captured by some corpse hunters, and he's been here ever since for the last year and a half, 2 years. Is that where we would like to pick off? Eilif, is you going to see Adair?
Yeah. Sounds good.
The smell of the cell is dank and moist. A heavy scent of piss and shit permeates the small room. Adair sits behind the bars, shackles around his ankles, keeping him chained to the wall, though with some slack. As you're escorted in, he's seated at the edge of the cot in the cell, pen in his hands. You can see the way dirt and grime are all along his form, the dried bits of blood around his wounds, both old and new. As he hears you come in, his head perks up a little bit. Mutagen?
Thank you. I think as she's going in, her hands are like clammy, and she's like happy that she's found him. But at the same time, there's something else there that she's not quite certain of. He's like covered in dirt and blood and scarring, right?
Mm.
Yeah, she regardless of like whatever uncertainty there is here or whatever she's feeling, she can't leave him here.
He looks up at you, and there's like the barest hint of a smile on his face as he regards you. Eilif, you've returned?
I said I would.
And when will we go home?
In the morning, you can return home. How'd you sleep?
Bit easier.
She's like just kind of stroking at her hands, kind of picking at her calluses from like where she grabs her sword. Anything you want to say?
He gets up from the cot, and he's still behind. He's sort of in a cell behind bars. And he goes up and he goes up to the bars and sort of grabs them. And he looks down at you, and despite his sort of withered form, he still stands fairly tall in front of you. And he goes to reach through the bar to sort of cup your cheek. I just missed you.
I can understand.
What have you... And in this moment, he sort of looks at you, perhaps a little bit more intently than he's previously had since you've shown up in Ruin. What have you been up to?
After you left, a lot of things happened very quickly, and I had to make do. So why'd you run?
His hand withdraws back. It was a lot, Eilif. Thought it would be easier to handle. And it wasn't, and I wanted to come back home to you all, but I knew that wasn't an option. Thought I maybe could go through the south and come back up through the lands, but got caught by a corpse hunter.
You've had about 2 years in here. What do you think about?
You mostly? Our son? My family?
About our son. He was born healthy. Bright young boy, beautiful smile, and everything I could have hoped he was. The spitting image of you, actually. If only with tanner skin, and she like gestures down at what he looks like, and a bit on your better days. When you disappeared, your family did not respect me as your wife or your widow. And so I had to leave and find work. And in finding work, I left our son with my mother. I left Keld with my mother. Sickness ran through the town. My father died. And when I went back, they were gone. And I don't know where he is. I have been searching. I promise you I've been doing everything I can. And I joined a guild who also helps me. And my handler, my boss, I suppose, Cyrus, he helps. He helps a lot.
Eilif, as you are going through the events, you see the grip that Adair has on the cell bar sort of tighten and tighten and tighten. And his thick brow furrows at the mention of Saris. Who's that?
Saris.
Because he sees the way your lips twitch up at the mention of this man.
He is my handler. He's the one who gives me work. He's the one who's given me the ability to pay for, and well, I suppose I don't pay for it anymore. The guild, they help me find our son. He's my contact in the guild.
There's something in Adair's posture that changes. His shoulders tighten. His gaze narrows at you. More than a handler?
A friend. A very good friend.
Roll a deception check.
Shit! I'm not good. Well, actually, I'm pretty good at those. Get deceived on, bitch. That's gonna be a 12. That's not right.
You can see that he knows that you're lying to him. Is that it then? Is that why you're so disappointed to see me? I go off to war and you go off and spread your legs to the first man you walk by. And
I'm sorry.
as he stands there, despite his withering form, he is just as tall as you remember him being, looming over you. 2 years ago, his stature would have been comforting to you. But now you felt how small you were. And his nostrils flare, and there's a snarl to his lips that you've never seen before as he speaks to you. I should have listened to my family, but no. I was in love, and thought I had chosen a woman who would stand by me like a good wife. Should have known, though. A creature like you knows nothing of loyalty.
Loyalty? Coming from a deserter? Is that what
I
we're
was coming
playing at
home
now?
to you, Eilif. I deserted to come back to you. I missed you. I wanted to be with our family again.
Yes, you were gonna come home and be, what, a disgrace to your family?
We could have left. We could have gone somewhere. We didn't need my family. We didn't need the name. I was happy just with you and I.
You do realize your family name is the only reason any of your dreams came true, right? The only reason you were able to make homes, build whatever libraries were in your heart, whatever you wanted to do, all your inventions, the only reason they ever succeeded was because of me and your family name. I did not spread my legs for the first man that came around. I've never done that.
Is that it then? Is that why you married me? For my family name?
No, I married you because I thought you were a good man. A kind man. Your family name had nothing to do with it.
He leans back and it looks like he's like just done with the conversation at that point.
Eilif's not.
Okay.
Adair, you are able to go home. The war is over, you can go home. This war has taken a lot from everyone. The reason I left my child, the reason that I wasn't at home taking care of him, was because you made a choice. Of your wedding vow was that you would consult me, you would come to me with your dreams, you would come to me and we would make a joint decision. You ran off, you made the choice to sign up for the war for your glory. How did that work out? Instead, I was stuck between starving, our child starving, or going off to find work. I tried to find honest work, I did. Without your name, without your becking, nothing mattered. So, I did what I could, and I'm trying to find our child now. Had you not run, you could have come back. I know a very good and honorable man who is currently looking for his wife, who was also in the war. You are not the only one. You did not lose everything. These are the consequences of what you did. I love you as the father of my child. But everything that has happened since then, it's hard to gauge what I feel now. I am glad you are okay. I am happy that you can come home. I am happy that my child may have a father. But as far as me loving you the way I used to, I am my own person now. You understand that, right?
You think that maybe for a second he might be taking your words to heart. And you look at his face, and there's nothing but rage behind his eyes as he stares down at you. Eilif, have you not thought for a second why my family might not have liked you? Why they were so quick to abandon you at the notion of me being dead?
To be entirely honest, I didn't have the time.
You never thought once why people in the village were so wary of you? All this time and you still don't know. God's Eilif. I knew you to be daft, but not this idiotic. Never even wondered once about your parentage.
They abandoned me. It doesn't matter.
It matters a great deal, Eilif. Your father, Wilhelm, dealing with demons and devils, and your poor mother a victim in all of that, killed by her own daughter because that's all you do, Eilif. You destroy things under your pretty little thumb. You can even keep your own son, our son, with you. And he nearly spits this vitriol at you. A rage steadily building in his eyes. Eilif, you look at the man standing before you and you don't recognize him. For a moment, you think this cannot be the same person who would dance with you in the tavern. The same one who would walk you home night after night, not the one you pledged your life to, body and soul. But as you look into his eyes, you think you might have just been blind this entire time. That this is who he is, that maybe you'd never known him, not truly, not until now.
I'm the one getting you home. I'm the one who's setting you free. You best remember that. I am not your lady wife anymore. Perhaps in legality. You forfeited that when you broke your vow, when you joined the war. And I was a good wife for a long time. I waited for you. And all that got me was a lost son, a coward of a husband, and a very rough life. All I wanted was you. I didn't need glory. I didn't need any of it. You wanted it. If my mother was killed because of my birth, because Willem decided to do what he did, that has nothing to do with me. I will find Willem if he is alive, and he will explain himself. He dealt in demons and monsters. It's his own issue. Henrik and Thera loved you, and I loved you. But they are dead. Your father is dead. The war is over, and you're going to go home disgraced, as you should have been. I've learned a lot about loyalty and honor. She's kind of gonna look him up and down as he's covered in bruising and blood and piss and shit and all of his own making.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go home and sit in comfort. I will look for our son, because I know that you are not strong enough to. We leave in the morning. So we hope. I will find you escort home, if that is what you wish. Have a good night. Adair.
He stands there, watching as you walk away. Says nothing else. Where do you go,
Yeah,
Eilif?
she's gonna go back to the to our quarters, our barracks, I suppose. And this like pity that she felt when she was walking in because he was like imprisoned and tortured, like she had thought like maybe she did have it better than she thought. Maybe this like rough world that she now lived in was a hell of a lot better than whatever the hell he was going through. But like that overwhelming devotion and love that she felt when she was young is kind of crushed under everything that he's said. And not only that, but everything that happened beforehand. For all intents and purposes, he left her alone in the world, and he left their child alone. And she like feels sad that she felt protected by him. Like but the only person that's actually put themselves between like danger and her has been Saris. And there is like a level of guilt there, even though he's said all this, even though Adair has proven himself to be kind of a piece of shit. But she would like kind of continue to fidget with her hands, and as she walks into the barracks, she would still kind of be lulling and out of her, like she's not fully there, and she's kind of scraping her hands together, almost detrimentally, to where she's just fidgeting and not really thinking about if it hurts or not.
Oleyna and Neck, you guys are sort of settling in for the night. Eilif has been gone for about a half an hour when the door to the barracks open, and in comes Eilif, looking rather distracted, perhaps a little bit more upset than you've ever seen her.
I think it'd be easy for Oleyna to pick up on that.
Hmm.
And she'll sort of perk up. Eilif, darling, how did it go?
It's not what I thought it was going to be. He's upset.
For what? That you came to his rescue?
I thought he'd be a little more grateful, yeah. I suppose I made the mistake of mentioning Cyrus. I didn't know that it was a problem.
What did he say to you, Eilif?
He made a mistake marrying me. That, he goes off to war and I open my legs for the first man that comes around. Talking about Cyrus, obviously. And, I suppose he wanted me to be at home, waiting. Starving, but waiting.
This is coming from a man who deserted?
I brought up that point.
I think Oleyna's gonna start laughing and pulling out her dagger. I'm sorry, he said what to you?
Next, just like, what is the plan with him?
We kill him, obviously, and leave him here to die and rot and serve Lufir for the rest of his days, obviously.
No.
No.
He can go
Next,
and
like, immediately,
collapse.
like, he's like, I love that plan. And then he like
Oh.
he gives Oleyna like a look of like, that's gonna be much worse than stabbing him going home.
He
You're gonna-
he can go home, and he can feel the his world collapse as his frivolity catches up with him.
Hear me out. The proverbial tar and feathering. I am almost certain a certain tiefling would be happy to spread many, many rumors about Adair.
I don't think you guys understand what will happen if he goes home. I think that is by far the best option.
His home is mean. Oh my god, I forgot the name of
Miremorn.
the town. Miremorn. His home is Miremorn.
Roll me a history check, guys.
Okay.
Aggie.
Wow.
Oh my god. I'm
17.
so smart, dude.
Wow.
So smart, so intelligent. Wow.
I got a 19. I'm so
Oh,
intelligent.
what
dude.
very smart
Matt?
ladies.
I'm so
20
smart.
total.
So
damn.
18, 19,
Yeah.
20?
17.
Mhm.
17. Okay. All of you would know this. Deserting during a time of war, especially a time of war where people are being conscripted, people are being forced to fight, he's going to be punished severely, if not with death, by the royal family.
Hmm.
And his family in turn is going to be not looked upon well. Their standing is going to fall significantly for having a son who volunteered for the war and then deserted and subsequently caused the death of other people.
Again, why Neck is saying send him home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I just would like some insult to injury, the salt to the wound.
I have an idea.
Do tell.
My son is, as far as I know, my brother-in-law has no children of his own. My son is their only heir. So if you could spread the lies that, or the truth that the family will rise when, the Miremorn family does. When the child becomes of age, when the child takes over, when his child and his mother come to power, the family will rise again.
I have a letter to write. I love this. And Oleyna's gonna immediately pull out some parchment and ink, and she is drafting a letter to my best friends.
Vadium.
Vadium, God.
Yeah, you would
what is
never
wrong
forget
with
your
us
best
today?
friend's name.
That's crazy to Vadium. And it's juicy. It's very juicy.
Okay.
And she'll also write a letter to Sam.
Okay. You're sending the letter to Sam to Dunbreak, correct?
Yeah, I'm just sending it to the main tavern there.
Okay. You've only been in Ruin for a couple of days, so you haven't gotten a response from Sam yet. But you have sort of given letters to one of the handlers here for you guys, and they have assured you that they would get it where it needs to go. But I would imagine you spend a significant amount of time tonight writing these salacious rumors, truth, about the Miremorn family and Adair, you send to Vadium, who likely will relish in this and take to it quite well. Is there anything you guys would like to do for the night?
Oleyna would send word through these handlers, these helpers and guards and butlers and whatnot. that she would like to speak with Lufir at his convenience.
Okay.
And then sort of settle down for the evening.
I think Eilif, not really knowing if he's gonna get the letter, but she's gonna kind of explain everything to Saris and sign it with my dearest. And add the words, I hope you're ready to be a father. As she explains it, as she explains everything, this continuing joke that they've had of like, I'm good to be a dad. And she like hands it to one of them and hopes that he gets it.
Where are you sending that to?
I'm gonna send it to I'm gonna write 2 letters. I'm gonna send one. One is addressed to Saris, and the other one is addressed to let's see, what's his name?
Blacken?
Was Lacken. At the Flaming Goblet.
Okay.
And she's gonna ask if they've collected Saris yet. Assuming he has somebody who can message her.
You would assume that they have, as soon as they do get the letter, if they need to get in contact with you, they will find a way to get in contact with you. Neck, anything else for you for tonight?
He wants to go to the library.
Well, it's too late to go to the library right now.
He's gonna go bad.
Okay. You guys,
That's
if you
how-
have not
okay.
already, please take a long rest. You guys were fighting for your fucking lives last session.
I actually did okay on HP. I stayed away.
You're playing to your strengths, which is distance.
I was
Yeah.
one away from death. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
You were, yeah. So I don't know if I told you guys this last session. I rolled like a 3 and a 4 on next death saving throws. So he was 1 away from dying.
Oh,
R.I.P.
R.I.P. this hoe.
The following morning, you all are guided back to the chamber, where Lufir usually sits, looming, really.
Looms.
He looms.
Menacingly.
Menacingly. He sits in the chamber. It looks like he's been awaiting you, the red leather book in his hands, and a smirk on his face as you enter. Good morning, friends. He stands from his seat and approaches the group. With a wave of his hand, a podium emerges from the center of the room, just in front of him, that he then places the book on. And he, come, gather around.
I get
Oleyna
her.
will.
I'm
She'll come
Huddle.
hesitantly, but she will sort of come in close.
Now, I must warn you, I've never read the context of this book myself. I was simply tasked with sealing it. But remember, what you learn cannot be unlearned. Is that understood?
I suppose.
Understood.
Lufir flicks open a ring on his left hand, revealing a tiny blade that he slices his thumb with, letting the blood pool down to his palm. He traces a sigil onto the cover of the book in his blood, and a glow emanates from it. You can feel the surge of magic as he completes it, and an almost distinctive click resonates through the room as the cover of the book opens on its own. Lufir has a satisfied smile as he gestures to the book. All yours. And he stands back, his arms behind his back, watching.
I guess we'll look at the book.
I am going to have you guys make me a series of checks to figure out what you learned from this book.
Okay.
If you want to make me first an investigation check.
Don't mind if I do.
I have so many advantages for this.
I got a 17.
What is it? Oh, it's a little dot. Okay.
Nat 20, so
is-
24.
Okay. And
Uh,
everyone has another round of advantages from Queecha.
Thanks, Leecha.
Leecha. Thank you. Turn that into
What did you get, Oleyna?
17.
So, as you are sort of flipping through the pages of this book, I imagine one of you is sort of there in the front flipping through while the others have gathered around. You realize that this is sort of spell book, a book of ritual, but really concerning one specific ritual, and it is a ritual of sealing. This sealing, as you're reading, is done using 3 artifacts. And I need you to make me another investigation check.
I'm going to use an advantage.
Okay.
Did my 20 give
I
me
am
anything
too.
else?
Not yet.
I got a dirty 20.
I got a nat 20 for a 21.
Okay.
Wow.
And sorry, what was it?
Investigation.
10.
So as you are reading, you are flipping through and you see what artifacts that the ritual is talking about. They are called the Heartwood Amulet, the Whispering Scepter, and the Starfall Diadem. And in the margins of the book, with both Next Nat 20 and Eilif's Nat 20, you'll notice something a little peculiar. And it seems the ink in the book that is used to write the rituals and all of like the descriptions and stuff seems old. This book is very, very old, and the ink is sort of faded. However, in an ink fresher than the one that the book is originally written in are notes in the margins. And I need you to make me a history check as you read a couple of words and phrases in the margins.
I got a 16 on the total.
19 total.
Okay.
18. Wait,
Okay.
History, right?
Yes.
18.
The notes written in the margins next to the artifacts, the descriptions of the artifacts, you recognize as locations. The Heartwood Amulet has Lover's Wood written next to it. The Whispering Scepter has the Whispering Mountains. And the Starfall Diadem has Loreweaver written next to it. And all of you with your history checks would recognize that last location as where the war was being fought with Beathanwa.
Can I get those locations again?
The Lover's Wood, which you would know to be a forest to the north of you in ruin. The Whispering Mountains, which you would know to be a mountain range to the northeast in Beathanwa.
That's where the Whispering Amulet is, correct?
Whispering Scepter, correct.
Whispering Scepter, sorry.
And the Starfall Diadem is Loreweaver. I will send you the actual spelling of that, because it is weird. And that is where the Starfall Diadem is.
Got it.
I can say with all honesty, that's not how I thought it was spelled.
If you guys want to make me another investigation check as you continue to search through the book.
I got a 4.
Cool.
I'm not even looking at the book.
What are you looking at?
Something shiny.
There's a lot of
gonna
shiny
say-
things around here.
Lufir's ass.
Yeah, I'm very distracted.
Lufir has a very nice like pendant that he wears. You could tell it's very expensive.
It's gonna be a 16.
16? Okay.
9.
Wait, no, 15.
Okay.
It's not bad.
Eilif, you're the only one as you're looking through the book. You're looking at the ritual itself. The components of the ritual, and it had mentioned the 3 artifacts, the Heartwood Amulet, the Whispering Scepter, and the Starfall Diadem. It had mentioned all of these. And sort of almost in like tiny print beneath, it mentions blood magic. And it says a sacrifice of blood is to be made by the caster of this ritual, tying the caster's bloodline to the seal and providing the fuel to keep the barrier in place. And again, Eilif, you're the only one that notices this part. So if you feel free to share with the Oleyna and Neck.
Yeah, I'll relay the information of these blood magic.
Blood magic. I think Oleyna's looking at Lufir.
He's sort of, you notice him now a little bit closer than he was before, sort of looming over you, your shoulders, kind of interestingly, like just gazing and seeing what you're reading.
I think she'll sort of slowly kind of do one of these numbers. Who casts the spell for the seal? Lufir?
Aedwin, the first queen. I'm not sure she even knew the implications of what it meant at the time.
And her bloodline leads to?
Why, it's the royal family, of course, of Tirfian.
Of course, naturally. The twin queens.
Mm-hmm. Give me another investigation check, everyone.
16 total.
Okay.
I'm a user advantage.
8.
That's gonna be. Why can't I do? Yeah, no, that's right. Okay. It's gonna be a 15.
Okay. You notice in the margins, next to the blood ritual description, in the same handwriting as the ones next to the artifact, you see the words, "What is the cost?" And there's something written under it that is smeared. And Eilif, you're the only one that can sort of make out this smeared handwriting, this smudged handwriting. It says lifespan. And everyone wants to make me a history check now. I told you guys this is going to be a lot of checks.
I'm going to use one of my advantages. Much better.
19.
That's a 17 total.
Okay. Eilif?
That's gonna be a. That's gonna be like a 7.
Okay. So it would only be Neck, you got a 19?
Yep.
Neck, this actually makes sense for you to know this because you had served the royal family, you had served the government. As a paladin, you'd served the crown. You would know that the lifespans of the royal family have been exceedingly short. You know that Queen Kiva, mother of Queens Kira and Neve, died at the tender age of 19 during childbirth. Her mother before her had died not even a year prior at the age of 2 and 40. Humans do not have an exceedingly long lifespan, but the lifespan of those belonging to the royal family have historically been far shorter than one would expect. If you guys want to make me an Arcana check as well.
Yeah, boy. I would love to do that.
It's gonna be a dirty 20.
Okay.
That is a 21 total.
Okay.
21 total.
Oh, all of you got this. What you're gathering so far is that Aedwin, the first queen, who was human, you know that she was human, made some sort of ritual, and she used her blood as a binding component in this ritual, which meant she binded her bloodline, which meant all of her descendants are bound by this ritual. The use of a human bloodline in this seal would never have held up to the test of time. Their lifespans are short and fleeting compared to some of the other races, and it's only a matter of time before the seal began to crack.
Do the Twin Queens have children?
No.
No. Okay.
They are, and you know that they are early 20s, like they're like 2022.
Right.
So they're reaching that age where they just kind of.
So you know their mother's life was cut exceedingly short because she died in childbirth with them.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother before her died in her 40s, which is very short for a human. Regardless, it's, you know, it's a fantasy setting. It's just short. That is a short lifespan. And all of the other, and it's been queens mostly, have died in their 30s and 40s. Would you guys
Do you
like to
think
make
that-
me... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, would you guys like to make me one more investigation check?
Sure.
Yes. I'm gonna use my
This one's a little bit
advantage.
easier.
That's a 15.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 14.
10.
Okay, it was, you only needed a 10. As you're flipping through the book, you get to the back of the book, and you note that there are a number of pages that have been cut out.
Fuck. I'm assuming these seem imperative.
You roll me an Arcana check,
Okay.
Oleyna.
Yeah, that
I am making up for all of the times I don't ask you guys to roll in this moment.
It's a 22 total.
You are fairly familiar with magic at this point as a warlock. You are fairly proficient in your arcane abilities. You feel that as it stands, with everything that you have in front of you, all of the information you have in front of you, this looks like a complete ritual. The pages at the end are something else, something in addition, something else that someone felt the need to remove from this book.
I think Oleyna would quietly say to herself, possibly the reverse.
Neck will just look at Lufir.
Questions, concerns, issues?
Did you cut out the last pages?
No. As I said, I was just in charge of sealing the book.
Do you know who cut out the pages?
Well, if I had to guess, it probably would have been Aedwin, as she was the only one who had access to the book prior to the sealing. I sealed it
Where is
upon
it?
her death.
Where is she buried?
Now that is an interesting question. And probably a well-kept secret. If I had to guess, she would probably be buried somewhere in Dunbrig with the rest of her bloodline.
I suppose grave robbing the royal cemetery isn't really an option.
Oh, but it would be very fun.
It's
Very.
not that hard.
Lufir looks at you, Eilif. Like, go on.
That's it. It's not that hard.
Have you done
They
it
tend to
before?
keep-
Oh, come now. Don't be coy now.
No, I don't. No, of course not. That'd be illegal. I'm just saying that they tend to take better care of the royals that are alive, rather than the ones that are dead.
I think I know how we can get the last few pages.
Go on.
Certainly, Edwin wouldn't be so foolish to leave it some box somewhere for somebody to find. and it would be a bit sacrilegious, of course, to dig up the body of a fallen royal. Surely she took it to her death with her.
Lufir leans close to you, Oleyna. Now, if you think that these pages contain how to reverse the seal, is that your intent?
I think this is sort of the first time, because Lufir knows her ambition. I think this is the first time that the group kind of would see the seal's cracking. It's broken. Fae are slipping through all the time. I have a weight to throw around.
If you plan on opening the seal, not something I'm against, we have to set up a system for which we can keep them in check, keep them from butchering people. We have to tell these families, we have to tell noble families about the incoming disaster.
I think you see Oleyna's chest kind of cave in on itself as she takes in a deep breath and holds it for a moment as she looks at you, Eilif. But what if we were the noble families? What if we use that weight for our own gain? There's no need for a countermeasure if we are the countermeasure.
Say you are correct. I'll look over to Neck. Your family holds power in the capital.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to use their resources and take over?
Neck, like, thanks. And he just kind of looks at both of you. Kind of like looks at Lufir for a second, and he's just like, I don't think with the path that I am going down, my family's name will hold much meaning after a certain point in time.
We can make it hold meaning. If I can hold and bring about the family, the town, the family of Mine, if I can bring them, Oleyna, I suppose you can bring your family.
Oh no, the Crane name will fall. That I will be most candid with all of you. My father will fall. But not before I am risen up. In my own house. House Crane is not long for this world. And Neck, they all betrayed you. They fucked you. Wouldn't you want to rise above them? All of them?
I don't think you all get this. I want my wife back.
And I want to help
I
you bring
do
her
not
back.
care what happens to the rest of the world. I could care a bit less. I want to go into the library and learn as much as I can, so that way my children can have her back. so I can have her back. If that means residing here with Lufir and never seeing my parents again, if that means whatever, I will happily do it 1,000,000 times out of 10. I don't care if I'm considered below the dirt on nobles' feet or the highest royalty. It all means nothing. I couldn't say goodbye. She was suffering without me, there to support or do anything. I could care less about the petty squabbles and wars.
Let me help you.
I can only help myself.
I just want a safe place for my son to come home to. Your wife
Lufir-
deserves the same.
Lufir interjects at this point. And how do you expect to get the Fae to fall in line? I'm not sure any of you grasp what we all had to go through millennia ago. What it was like living beneath the Fae, the power that they held over us. They are immortal beings, crafted by the gods themselves. They merely usurped the gods in order to gain this power. And this was a last-ditch effort on our part to seal them away, to get rid of them. And don't mistake this as me trying to dissuade you from what you're going to do, because I do really want to see how this all plays out. But I think that you should make an informed decision, if nothing else.
By the gods, if you would just let me have a conversation with my patron here.
I don't think that would help.
Oh, I think it would help a great deal. I think I've already made a step towards it.
Why does your god talk to you in mine or next doesn't? I do think you're a special woman, a good one, a kind one, a very attractive one. But I don't understand why you would be spoken to by a god, by a patron, someone with power who isn't a god. I can only assume has ambitions. As he said, the Fae were akin to gods to them. So,
Remind
know?
me. Sorry, I'm sorry, Eilif. Mary, remind me. Does Oleyna know?
I think that's up to you. As do you think at this point, I think we've had this conversation, do you think
Yeah.
at this point, with everything that you've learned about Dullahan, do you think Oleyna thinks that he is a god, or if you think she thinks he's another being? Because he's never explicitly said who he is besides his name.
I think she is putting some pieces together of great power that resides within Dullahan. I don't know if she has the word for it yet or even wants to say it yet, but I think she has an inkling. And I think she'll look at Eilif. Eilif, I have made the proverbial deal with the devil. And I do believe great power lies with that deal and that contract. I don't think I am speaking to a god.
then
think
I
I'm-
don't trust it.
Neither do I. But I'm willing to take the leap. Are you?
No. Not until I've found my son, not until Neck has his wife back.
I will always help you where I can. Until you have him in your arms. And until she is alive once more. But I think that this power, and she'll look at Lufir briefly, has granted me an opportunity that I cannot waste. I won't waste it. Not with the deal I've made.
I think we need more information on the Fae, on what they were, on what they can do. If we decide to close up the seal again, then we will have saved a lot of people. But if we can find a way to open it incrementally where we want it, that may also prove useful.
I agree.
Either way, we need the last pages.
I also agree.
I'll look to Lufir. Do you perhaps have any books or scrolls on the Fae? On what they used to be like, on what they can do?
He smirks. I do.
Any you're willing to let me borrow?
Oh, Eilif. Of course. And he looks to Oleyna. I heard you wish to speak to me.
Privately, yes.
He turns to one of the guards, already knowing that Neck is eager to go to the library. You may take both Eilif and Neck to the library, show Eilif where we keep the archive, and allow Neck access to the necromantic section. And the guard sort of nods, and he will wait for both Eilif and Neck to follow him, while he takes Oleyna the opposite direction, towards a little offset room from the open chamber. That is where we're going to take our first break.
Library time.
Library. This is what Neck has been waiting for 2.5 seasons.
Neck
Go
just
to the
wants to
lab, Lily.
read.
He's just trying to be a nerd.
He says his library card like hot and ready.
Multipass. Okay, guys, we will be right back in 5 to 10 minutes. Stick around. Bye. Hello, everyone. We're back. I know you missed us, but we're here. Hi, Blordle. How are you doing, Blordle? Hello, Jay. Thank you for that resub. Anyway, we left off with Oleyna being led by Lufir to his study, you're sort of assuming. He leads you to the to a chamber just off of his throne room, for lack of a better term, and it's smaller than you would have expected for this man, given the opulence of everything sort of around him. The walls are lined with books and various knickknacks on the shelves, and there is a strong, sturdy desk sat in the corner. You wish to speak with me?
Yes, of course. So you said there's chairs. I think Oleyna would just immediately make herself as comfortable as possible, almost expecting him to cater to her. She crosses her legs.
He smirks at that. He smirks at the implication.
Well, I have a few questions, truly, but let's not play coy, Lufir. Why won't you let my patron speak with me here?
Because I know who your patron is, and I don't want him in my home. However, if it is truly imperative for you to speak with him, I will allow you to do so for a short period of time.
Who is he? Truly, who is he? And do not speak in riddles or half-truths to me, Lufir. I'm not a fool. I'm a very smart woman who needs to know.
Dullahan. It's not a name I've heard in nearly a millennia. It's cruel beyond measure. What he hated more than anything were mortals. He spent a long time being crushed under his thumb, subjugated against our will, and made to bend and break to his whims. It was a living nightmare. To be ruled by the Fae King. And the fool went and fell in love with a mortal of all people.
I'm sorry. You said the Fae King?
Did you not know? That is who you made your deal with.
No, I didn't.
You have given yourself to something that you didn't truly comprehend the nature of, nor do I think that you actually truly understand it even now. And as he looks at you, you sort of expect there to be almost like judgment, or even maybe pity in his gaze. But all you see is curiosity.
He has, he's always been with me. Always.
Did you
In
not
my
think it
dreams.
odd?
That he was always with me. No, Lufir, he was a source of comfort. You have to understand, my upbringing was not one of fortune or favor by any means. My father discarded me at the word of my birth, and I was forced into the life that I am now living, or rather lived since I left Solaris.
What of your mother?
I know nothing of her. I was left on a doorstep to the House of Crane, and tossed aside.
There's something in his sort of eye as he asks that question. Like he knows more than he's like letting on.
Would I recognize this?
Give me an insight check.
Yeah. No problem. This is an 18 plus 18. Nope, just kidding.
18. I was gonna be like 18 plus 18. Holy shit.
18 plus 7.
Yeah, you recognize that quite easily. You are well versed in doublespeak.
Out with it then. What do you know?
He leans in close to you. Well, I know your mother quite well, actually. Seems odd to me for her to leave her child on the doorstep of a noble of Tirfian. Seems odd for her to abandon her child without reason.
My mother was a whore. She couldn't take care of me.
Your mother was not a whore.
Who was she?
My daughter.
Shut up, Joel. I'm sorry. What did you just say to me?
I believe you heard me, given your response. My 2 children left Ruin to go start a life anew. They did not like the way that things were done here. Next father went off to be an archivist of Tirfian in the capital. And I know not where your mother went, but I knew of her character quite well. And I know that she wouldn't have abandoned you so readily.
Did you know that he's always been with me then? Did you know of me?
I had inklings. But there's only so much I can do here.
Then you understand my plight against Lord Crane.
I do.
Would you support it? My campaign against him?
He smirks. I do. See this little fight you have in you. You didn't get that from your father. Tell your mother. She was a woman of ambition.
What was her name?
He leans back. And there's a sadness in his eyes. Morwen.
I see. Does she live?
You know, it's an odd thing as a necromancer to be afraid of death. And I wouldn't say I am. I would say I'm quite comfortable with the idea of death. With the idea of the great beyond. But the thought of someone close to me no longer being of this world, being in a place where I cannot reach them. It's quite frightening. I have reached out, sent my tendrils looking across this realm. I have come up empty.
I see. I've lived my life under the assumption that she's dead.
Well, I am sorry if this makes things worse for you.
No. Simply just more complicated. It, however, bolsters my campaign further. I've made my pact with Dullahan.
I know.
And beyond.
Do you want to speak with him?
I do.
He sits down. You have 5 minutes, and you feel the rush of Dullahan's magic overflow you. And it's like you're snapped into your dream world almost instantaneously. You're in the meadow. And you see Dullahan standing in front of you.
How far is he from me?
Right in front of you.
Instantly, Oleyna wraps her arms around him.
He wraps his arms around you, his hand coming up to the back of your head and pulling you closer to him. Well now, that was terribly frightening, not being able to feel you for so long.
I think something overcomes her, and I think she sobs into him.
He holds you tighter. Now, dear. What are all the tears for?
I don't know.
He pulls back, cups your face, and looks down at you. And as you're looking at him, you've always known, since you've seen his face, that Dullahan is beautiful. Sharp jaw, clear eyes. But with the realization of who he is now, he is otherworldly. He is beyond your comprehension as a mortal. And it just makes sense to you now. Of course, he's a fae. Of course, he has this power. Why were you so blind to this before?
I know what you are. What you are.
He smirks down at you, his thumb tracing the edge of your lips. What am I, my dear little dove?
The Fae King.
The corner of his mouth twitches up into a grin. What will you do with that information?
I've already given myself over to you with this contract of ours,
You have.
but I expect something in return.
Name it.
I want to take down House Crane. And I think I want to take down the Twin Queens.
The grin widens. Why stop there?
What do you mean?
Why stop at Tyrfian? Why stop at the Queens? Oleyna, you're thinking too small. Think bigger.
How far can I go then?
Oh, my sweet one. Together, you and I can go as far as we desire. The realm. The world. It was all under my control not so long ago. Truly a blink of the eye in terms of immortals. Don't you want to be immortal, Oleyna? Don't you want to rule with me? We could.
I think she watches his face for a moment. And I think for the first time, she's going to reach up and touch his face with just the tips of her fingers.
Leans in slightly.
I can reverse the seal, I think.
Can you?
I have a lead. The last pages of that book, I think they might be buried with the first queen.
He grabs you by the cheek, pulling you closer to him. You won't disappoint me, will you, Oleyna?
I'll do what I can. And I think I can win.
I think you can too. And he presses a kiss to your lips. And you're jolted back into your body. You're standing in front of Lufir in his study. Time's up. I hope that was enlightening.
Incredibly. Did you hear anything?
No, unfortunately, when I give away the control of my area, I'm blocked out of it.
Interesting. If I were to find my mother, if I were to search the world for her, where do you think she would go?
Wilds. She always had an endless fascination with them, with the Fae.
I see. Thank you, Lufir.
As you go to leave, I don't know what it is you promised him, but I can tell you it will only be detrimental to you in the end, Oleyna.
I think I know what I need to do in this world. And I'm not letting anybody hold me back. I never have, and I never will. And while I appreciate whatever concern you may have, Lufir, perhaps it's best to keep it to yourself.
He leans back in his seat. There's a smirk on his face. Well then, I can't wait to watch this unfold.
Oleyna will just turn and leave.
On our way to the library, we find Neck and Eilif being led by the guard through the winding passageways of the Archon's hold in Marbhmullach. You guys having a little conversation?
There's no widow one. Eilif is gonna start with I hold you in high regard. What do I do?
In what regard?
Well, in that you're a good man and good father, mostly.
What type of life do you want for your child?
One of comfort. One where he doesn't have to worry about his father's problems coming back. One where he can decide what he wants and not what I can provide for him.
Because if you want your child's name to mean anything, there's an easy solution. And that is partially the information that he is alive and is a deserter cannot get out. Or if you want things to be a bit more difficult, you can send him home. I think because of how I know him, I think it would be easiest to let Lufir deal with him. That way you aren't doing it yourself. And that way word will never get out that your family name will be
Don't we need
ruined.
it to get out? For them to know he didn't desert, that he died? And if you know, then others will too, won't they?
You see, if he's left alive, it's just a matter of time. There's always a chance that it could be found out.
I can't kill my husband.
That's why I'm saying it's not something that you have to deal with.
On the other note, something about that mask. The day that Oleyna stole it, something in me clicked. I think she's being controlled. Maybe not in mind completely, but manipulated in some way. I've seen this before. They use it to, well, some places, some guilds use it to get people to do what they want. Blackmail. I've done it time and time again. And sometimes you don't need that. If she would steal a mask in a dangerous environment that we're likely to get caught, likely to be executed, what tells us that patron won't make her do more? It'll be detrimental to your cause and mine. Find your wife, find my child.
Neck will kind of look at you for a moment. Like if we were walking, he'll stop for a minute and he'll put his hand on your shoulder. He's like, I respect this group. And I do see issues with that mask. I have no issue killing either one of you if it gets in my way of bringing back my wife. Oleyna has voiced her disdain of Lufir. So it would be fairly easy. I don't think I'd have that much remorse. But I find you as a friend, Eilif. It would be a little harder, but I will use every ounce of magic and strength that I have to kill you too. If it comes to it.
I would expect
So
no
whether
less.
whether it's a mask or whatever, if it comes down to it, my goal will be fulfilled. So take that for what it's worth.
Can I tell you something that I've been thinking?
Of course.
Lufir was unable to find my son. Perhaps the Fae have the answer to both our problems. And letting the seal break little by little will give us some control. I want to find those pages, and I want to burn them. Because that mask, it stirs something inside me that I don't truly understand. Something that makes me revolt at its sight.
I'm still unsure. On one hand, we know what the world is without the Fae. Lufir seems to have known what it was with it. Both sides of this coin seem very shitty. I don't really know at the moment if it's worth it to open or close it more. Maybe once I read some, I'll get a better understanding. But as far as right now, I don't know which way I'm going to lean.
More information is always good. Well, I'll do that. You go find a way to get your wife back. I'll love to meet her.
Well, at least she won't hit you in the shins with a wooden sword.
I'm kind of expecting she does. I feel like it would shatter my illusion of your daughters if she doesn't.
Okay. You both arrive at Lufir's library. The guard ushers you in, and he points you in the direction of a stack in the back that is comprised primarily of scrolls, and what looks like sort of like journals almost. And then he points Neck in the direction of what could only be the section on necromancy, just by the grim look of the books in the section. Neck, as you are given basically free reign of the library, after having to scrounge around for the last few months for any hint of necromantic books, every which way you turn now, there is a book on necromancy. The practical uses, the theory, the application, swaths of spell books are now at your fingertips. You're not sure how long passes, but you're sat at one of the tables, a pile of books in front of you that you're eagerly rifling through and taking diligent notes on. And you hear a voice from behind you. It was your wife, wasn't it? You see Lufir sauntering into the library, waving away the guard that was standing post. The one you wanted to bring back.
Yes.
Lufir's gaze on you is soft, truly replicating the look of a grandfather staring down at his grandson. And he takes a seat. You sort of expected him to sort of lean back in the sort of lackadaisical way that he normally does. Instead, he leans forward. I should warn you of the dangers of this practice, my boy. The art of necromancy is not one to take on lightly, not with so much at risk. You see, necromancy is not about the intellectual aptitude that one has with magic. It's about both the mental and physical fortitude to withstand it. Some necromancers, like Balak, are unable to do so. The mental load that a necromancer bears is oftentimes too much. To reach beyond the veil, to see what is there, it's enough to break anyone, and Balak is not the first, nor will he be the last to crumble under the weight.
Now I know where my father gets these lectures from.
Smiles. Don't consider it a lecture, merely a warning. One that I have given to many a necromancer before, one that I will continue to give, time and time again. I know that you are steadfast in your convictions to bring back your wife. I understand. But I wish for you to do so, fully informed on the ramifications of your actions.
Obviously, we did not get to talk much, but I could tell when we had to go retrieve that necromancer, from the brief amount of time that he was alive, he seemed taken over. And yes, I will do everything in my power to bring her back. And I am slightly aware of the ramifications of these actions that I intend to take. But I believe that I'm not like most others that go down this path. I believe I have the fortitude to keep my wits about me, because I need to, as well for my children.
He leans back. I am taking a more relaxed posture now. Well, I've done my due diligence of warning you, so I cannot be held liable for any of your actions. Obviously, it's really just like an insurance thing that I have to check off with the whole necromancy magic. And he gets up. Any questions for me?
Do you have any input, one way or the other? I don't. Obviously, you all had your reasons to lock the Fae away. Apparently, my comrades, to a degree, have their reasons that they want them. I don't see there being any particular difference on whichever fucked up side of this coin gets landed on.
He sort of smiles at you, fondly. You can tell there's almost sort of a kindred spirit in that smile, in that thought line, that no matter what you do, it's going to be a shitty situation all around. And he sort of stands behind the chair as he's going to leave, his hands coming up to the chair to lean on it. I will tell you what I told my comrades many years ago. Power corrupts. Ultimately, there is nothing that you can do to stop that from happening. It will be an endless cycle. The Fae were in power, and they became corrupt with it. Queens were in power, and they became corrupt with it. I am in power, and inevitably, I will become corrupt with it. It will continue on and on and on in needless, senseless power grabs, in wars that will never stop. Because truly what anyone wants at the end of the day is to be in control.
Just like sitting there, just like pondering. And he'll be like, well, maybe I'll see to it that you don't get corrupt with power.
He laughs, kind of like a hearty grandpa chuckle. And as he goes to turn and leave, he swings back. Another thing, just for your own information. Those brought back from the Vale, they are hardly the same as when they were in life. I know you desire your wife back, but she will not be the same person when you do. And he turns and leaves, letting you ponder that thought. Eilif.
Yep, I can read.
I'm very happy that you can. That makes one of us. Eilif, you are searching through the stacks. I'm going to ask you to make me an investigation roll.
Okay. What's my investigation? Oh, not great. 19.
You are searching through the small, it's almost like a small, like little history section, a little archive. You pull out some scrolls, some journals, and they seem to be like first-hand journals. They're old, so incredibly old, and it seems like they're very finely preserved. You think that they've probably been bound and rebound a couple of times. And as you're searching through these, a lot of the records that you're reading describe, there's one from a dwarven woman, an elven man. There's even one written by a child, a little halfling child, and you can tell from the sort of crude handwriting. And a lot of it is about their lives, the lives that they lead under the rule of the Fae, and the hardships, and the raiding, and the murder, the needless, senseless killing that happens as the Fae squash down rebellions that rise up. How they keep everyone subjugated, how they keep everyone docile, how people are afraid at night that one day, if whispers get out of even a hint of rebellion, that the Fae will come and burn an entire city down. They'll burn an entire town down. They will take a family in the night, and that family will never be heard from or seen of again. As you're reading through these, the only word that really comes to mind is terror. These people were living in terror constantly for hundreds and hundreds of years, generations and generations of trauma.
How were the gods during leaving us alone with these people? I guess I'll try. Can I do one more search?
Yeah. What are you looking for anything in specific?
Yes. I'm looking for a book about why we know gods, why did the gods disappear? Like, where'd they go? Where'd mom and dad go?
Okay, give me an investigation.
Actually, instead of that, I'm gonna use my nat 20.
Okay. So you find, you actually kind of venture outside of the little archive area that you were in to more of like a history section that tells sort of a more objective view of what took place instead of the first-hand experiences. And you find a book specifically about the gods. And it documents that, according to legend at least, this is a millennia ago, that the Fae had tricked the gods. The Fae are beings of trickery. And they were granted this power to trick and deceive by the spinster, who is the god of lies and trickery. And they use this power against the other gods to make it so that the gods could not interfere with the machinations of the Fae. And thus the gods were powerless. And it was up to the mortals to rid themselves of the Fae.
So they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Eilif's looking at. Okay. How do we get our gods back?
And as you're going through, you'll notice that there was almost a resurgence of belief in the gods that happened a millennia ago. Very coincided with the fall of the Fae, sealing of the Fae. And there was a resurgence of worship of the gods. And you don't think that that's a coincidence. You think that with the Fae gone, people were able to freely worship again. And your understanding of how divinity works is very limited. However, Eilif, you are an Aasimar. And thus you feel you have a little bit more of an inkling than most would. The power of the gods is given to them by worship. If there is no one to worship them, they are powerless.
Alright, I'll start handing out pamphlets.
Go knock on some doors. Wear your white shirt and your button up.
I'm just gonna do good deeds and then just be like, your gods, you gotta love the gods for it, you know?
Anything else?
No. I think that's it.
Neck, I need you to roll me a 2d4 and tell me, don't add them up, just tell me what you got individually.
Two and a 1.
You learn 2 first-level necromancy spells and 1 second-level necromancy spell. If you know all of the necromancy spells, you may pick one, another wizard spell. Anything else from you three? Would you like to do anything else before you sort of reconvene?
No, I want to reconvene. That's what I wanted to do.
Okay. All right. It is late into the night. I imagine, Eilif and Neck, you've spent a decent amount of time hidden amongst the stacks in the library when you return to the barracks, sort of with a new perspective. You find Oleyna there waiting.
She's just sitting like a sim.
Mm-hmm. No one's given you instructions yet?
No.
Idling.
Idling. I might. I guess it'd be more like.
Go ahead.
I think Oleyna feels weird now, back in the room with Neck. I think she'll stand and approach him. I hope that your endeavors in the library were informative.
Quite. Are you good?
I think she'll kind of just look at you a little bit longer and say, "That's very good, cousin."
No, that explains it.
Evidently, your father was siblings to my mother. Strange.
It's the most awkward
sorry.
family reunion.
All drow like this? That's like a really big deal where I come from.
To be cousins. We're not siblings.
To preface, you don't know how many children Lufir actually had. This man could have been fucking, so...
He probably was.
Yeah, he probably has a lot of, children and grandchildren, around,
All right, well.
It's also, some stranger could walk up to me and also tell me that they're related to me.
We're not strangers, you dickbag. We're friends.
Oh, yeah, friends. I
cast Homer Strangle on Neck.
weighs not a lot at the moment.
No, I just figured I'd get that out there. It's weird, though. Anyway. Yes?
Didn't when we were traveling to Ruin, didn't you suggest at one point that you could influence Lufir?
Seduce her way in?
Yeah, I believe that was stated.
I didn't know the man.
You didn't know your grandpa?
No. I'm a bastard, Neck. My father is Lord Crane. I knew not my mother. I just now learned her name.
Do we want to unwrap this now or later?
It's not that weird. I didn't know the man. Regardless, I hope perhaps you found some information to help with your wife.
I mean, Lufir came and informed me on some of it.
I see.
But I think I just need to read more, practice more.
I suppose.
Get better.
Fair enough. Well, do we have a decision on where we go next?
So you do know that there were 3 locations. However, Neck, I want you to roll me an insight check. With advantage at this point.
Are you inciting?
Himself.
Nat 20 for 24.
Oh, with a nat 20, you're sitting there and you're thinking for a second. You're like, oh. The Starfall Diadem was in Lobegeisher. the war was fought in Lobegashire, you were given a package to deliver to Dunbrig that suspiciously nearly days after the war ended. That's odd. That's more than a coincidence, you're beginning to think. Did you just hand deliver the one of the artifacts to the queens?
Neck will like, he'll be like in his mind palace. And then he sighs and he's just like, you remember how I was on a mission when we all
Yeah.
met?
Uh-huh.
You remember I had to deliver something?
Uh-huh.
It was the artifact.
You son of a bitch.
I
I
was,
guess you know at the time.
pardon the joke at this time, but when I get tasked with a job, I complete it. No offense, Eilif's current situation.
Nah, offend him all you want.
I you know,
So we have to get the artifact back from the queens. You're not doing it. They don't really like you anymore. I don't think Eilif, perhaps, would be interested in some subterfuge and thievery.
Actually,
Perhaps.
it's actually
With
quite
our-
good. I'm quite good at that.
Perhaps our powers combined and
You also know
Maybe.
that to the north there is the Lover's Wood, which was signified by the Heartwood amulet. And then the Whispering Scepter is northward through Beathanwa in the Whispering Mountains.
maybe perhaps we leave the items alone for now. We'll circle back to that. Well, we hatch a plan. Maybe we'll encounter Mermur'ss again. I'm sure he would be great help with that. And then there's, of course, the matter of the missing pages, which can be taken care of, I'm sure, at the same time with the items. So, my vote is Lover's Wood. It's the closest.
I agree.
And no mountain travel yet. Thoughts, Neck?
I'm checking.
You're looking at the map.
No, I'm checking spells. Ugh.
So
I
we can
agree.
go from. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I agree. We should probably try and grab the one that is closest. And at
Very
least
good.
if we have one, we can go back to my home and I can speak with my father and see if he has any input one way or the other.
I will say, just based on all of the history checks and investigation checks that you guys have rolled, it might benefit you all to go to Lover's Wood, then the Whispering Mountains, and collect both of those artifacts, because you anticipate whether you're going to reseal the barrier or break it. You're going to have to be in the Sandolfi wilds to do so, because that's where the barrier is. So you're going to need to be, you can't do it from across the way. So you'd have to travel back and forth instead of just sort of arching over.
Well, I suggest we grab the two and go back and then speak with my father to get his input
Interesting. Yes, that's perfectly fine. No problem. I think that's an
Seems
excellent
like a good
idea.
route.
Mm.
I really want to insight Oleyna. I feel like there's more. I feel like you got shit you ain't saying, Oleyna.
Insight me.
I'm gonna insight you.
Oleyna, roll whatever check you want to roll for that.
It would be deception, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Would make the most sense, right? Or performance, actually. Can I do performance?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. 30. It's a nat 20 for 30.
Okay, yeah, no.
Next, you're thinking maybe just like the realization that you guys are cousins might just be like weighing on Oleyna. She is acting a little strange, but finding out about your grandpa and your cousin and your mom all in one day might just like have an impact on someone. I see.
Okay. And that sounds like the plan for now.
There is a knock on the door, and you, a servant sort of peeks in. Miss Eilif, Lufir just wanted to speak to you very quickly before you all bedded down for the night, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, sure. I was gonna ask, do you guys have any armor that's better than this? And then I'll point down to my armor. It's just like, I think it's just basic chainmail.
I could ask Lufir if he's willing to supply and arm you all before you depart. I'm assuming that will be rather soon. I'll ask Lufir though, and I will allow you to shop our wares.
I have a question.
Okay.
Did you happen to be a bank teller in your life, by chance?
No. Though I've always dreamed of it. I think I have the disposition.
I would dare say so, dear darling.
Somebody who deals with banks all the time. Yeah.
I could be like, hold please. We're processing your transaction right now. See, I think I have the voice for it.
Perfect.
Striking. Striking.
Miss Eilif, please.
Yes. Sorry. And I'll skedaddle.
You actually find Lufir waiting within like he's like right down the hall. He's sort of just looming, you know, as he does. It's honestly rather weird sometimes, the fact that he's just kind of like walking around, because you expect him he's a leader. He's a very he's a very important person, a very powerful person. And yet he's just kind of like a normal guy, just like, hey, how's it going? He greets you with a smile, Eilif. Before you rested for the night, I did want to ask a very brief question of the matter of your husband. What it is you wanted us to do with him.
A matter I've been contemplating. He hasn't made any deals with you, has he?
No.
How do you feel about lying?
Well, I quite like lying. I lie all the time.
That doesn't bode well for what I'm going to ask of you. I need him to be seen as a hero.
Interesting.
But I don't want to hurt him.
Oh, so you want me to?
I don't know. Can we prepare him to leave, and then I'll make that choice later?
I do have a solution if it is you want him to appear as a hero.
Yes.
I can
Well-
send word to Dunbrig that we found the body of a noble, my corpse hunters, on the battlefield in Loreweaver. I can send the body with it.
May I say my goodbyes?
He blinks. Of course.
If you find a body, then what better way than to send him home?
It is only right and natural that we return everyone from whence they came. It would be awful to hold someone here against their will.
Right. Sure. Let's do that then.
You'll be able to say your goodbyes in the morning.
Very well.
We will have him prepped and ready to go by late afternoon.
Alright. I need to tell Oleyna to hold back on that litter.
Lufir turns and sends a wave over his shoulder. Sweet dreams! As he disappears down the corridor.
Alright.
You return back to the barracks, and you all bed down for the night, knowing in the morning that you will depart from Ruin, from Marbhmullach, in search of the artifacts, with a plethora of new information. And that's where we're going to end today's session.
Yippee!
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 Wow, guys.
Yippee!
Yeah.
All right. Introduce yourself. Tell me what's going on. Starting with Jay. Go.
I am Jay Jazz or at TheYellowCubes. You can find me on all social medias at TheYellowCubes, and you can find me on Twitch playing video games. I goofed it, guys. I didn't play for a while, but I'm back to playing. It's okay. I'm coming back. And yeah, you can find me here Saturdays playing this game, and then if you're here, you know what you're looking at. And then Thursday, we'll be back here at 5 Pacific. Playing
Yes.
something new, something cool that Myriad will tell you about, and also that's Joel. So, just cut that ahead.
Do we want to skip past Joel? I'm kidding. Go ahead, Joel.
Hey, Joel. I play Nick here. TactlessRaccoon in chat. You said introduce myself, so I like long walks on the beach.
You sound like a Mormon.
Derogatory.
I enjoy
Derogatory.
soaking.
Don't say that out
I
loud.
will not take a pamphlet from you.
Bones, please.
Don't sound so excited. Hi, it's me. I'm LittleBones309. I'm your favorite indie gamer here on Twitch.tv. Tonight, I'll be playing AAA Saturday. Be hanging out with Myriad. She'll be over on my channel. We're gonna be doing goofy gal stuff. This week, Wednesday is Wishlist Wednesday. I play a new indie game. Every Wednesday, you don't let me see on your Steam front page. Except for this week, it is a really popular indie game. We're playing Indica, which finally came out. So if you like nuns and psychological horror and like Russian literature, come watch that with me. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this game to come out forever. And then next week we also have another developer talk, except for it's mod talks. We're talking to a Dark Souls modder from SoftServe. So check that out next Sunday, and then tomorrow it's Stardew Sunday, and then also Winter's Larder, and I'm all over the place.
Ah! Hi guys, I'm Myriad. This is my channel. We do a whole lot here, including art, variety gaming, and TTRPG content. Tomorrow we'll be back here for some Stardew Sunday with Bones. My actual week schedule, I don't know. It's always a toss-up. Might be playing some D&D Monday. We'll be back here on Tuesday for some art. Wednesday is Stardew. And then Thursday is the series premiere of Pink Moon, which is it's a D&D5e module. It's a module that Bones found, actually, that I was like, I'm gonna run. So now we're running it. It's going to be very vaporwave 1970s alternate reality United States. It's gonna be really fun. It's very slight horror with some investigation murder mystery vibes. So come hang out with us for that, and then lights, and then back here again next Saturday. A lot going on. Everyone say bye.
Goodbye.
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 Bye.
Bye.
Oleyna.
Fart noise.